You have arrived at the intersection, the place where faith, current events, and politics all come together. Sit back as Andrew Chavarrilla and leading conservatives take you on a journey that will educate, challenge, and inspire. The intersection starts now.
What's up, America? This is Andrew Chavarrilla, host of The Intersection. I should be joined by my co-host Blake Reynolds here just shortly, but man, did you guys hear this? I'm fired up this morning. I am mad this morning. I'm upset this morning. Over this week, just Monday through Wednesday, this is midweek, okay? The Attorney General of the United States takes to the podium to go and berate North Carolina, their governor and their lieutenant governor. Now, just in this time span, she goes on to talk about filing a federal civil rights lawsuit on the state of North Carolina. Why? Because they passed House Bill 2, saying men cannot go in women's bathrooms and, for all intensive purposes, vice versa. I don't know why a woman would ever want to go into a man's bathroom, but for all intensive purposes, it covers both. Now, this bill was going out to let the market dictate who uses bathrooms. Let transgenderism and transgender bathrooms and gender-neutral bathrooms, let the market dictate that. You don't have to do business with places that don't want you to use the bathroom that you identify with. Just like if we don't feel comfortable going into the bathroom at Target, you don't have to do business with Target. Okay, that's the way the market works. It's called capitalism. It's called free enterprise. Look it up. But here's the thing. Here's what ticks me off about this whole thing. It's a fundamental misunderstanding of what the judicial branch, the Supreme Court, and the Attorney General can do and can classify as a civil right. And it's a fundamental misunderstanding of the Civil Rights Act. They just don't get it. But this week, even here in my home state of Texas in Fort Worth ISD, Fort Worth Independent School District, without a vote from the school board, without input from the faculty and staff, without any consultation, they saw fit to say that boys can now use girls' bathroom facilities and locker room facilities and shower facilities within their school district, and that teachers should no longer use gender-specific language in the classroom. No. No more boys and girls stuff. Why don't we just call them students and scholars? In fact, I want to read to you exactly, verbatim, what this ruling that Fort Worth ISD saw fit to pass says. Administrators must affirmatively seek opportunities to be an example in abandoning gender references and creating an inclusive environment. School personnel must be role models of these guidelines. Wherever arbitrary gender dividers can be avoided, they must be eliminated. Calling students or scholars instead of boys and girls may seem insignificant, but can make notable differences to students who feel alienated because they don't identify as either of the two binary categories. Start the day with inclusive language and stick with it. Educators should feature diversity in books, posters, and workbooks. Basically, what is being said now at this point is, don't call them boys, don't call them girls. They don't identify with these binary selections that they've been given. How is it worded? With identify with either of the two binary categories. Look, here's the thing. They're not binary categories. They're not. They are not binary categories. They are how you were created. They are the combination of chromosomes within your body that have made you either a male or a female. And in fact, and here, let me tell you something that's getting on my nerves right now. This is getting on my nerves, okay? Is all of these Christians out there saying things like, well, look, we have to be nice and we can't say these things about them and we have to include them, and just because they're, look, here's the thing. Transgenderism in and of itself asserts the idea that God made a mistake at creation. Okay, and for those of you that saying, that's not the Christian thing to say, Andrew, that's not the Christian thing to say. I don't care. Because here's the thing. It is the Christian thing to say. I don't care what you say. Jesus himself said, have you not read that he who made them from the beginning made them male and female? Male and female created he them? That's Matthew chapter 19, for those of you that are wondering where that came from. Jesus' his own words. If you have a red letter Bible, those words will be in red. Jesus said that. Jesus said that. Have you not read that he who made them from the beginning made them male and female? So that brings me to this point. I want to play you this audio from Attorney General Loretta Lynch and what she had to say about this civil right.
Now, the North Carolina General Assembly passed House Bill 2 in special session on March 23rd of this year. The bill sought to strike down an anti-discrimination provision in a recently passed Charlotte, North Carolina ordinance, as well as to require transgender people in public agencies to use the bathrooms consistent with their sex as noted at birth, rather than the bathrooms that fit their gender identity. The bill was signed into law that same day. And in so doing, the legislature and the governor placed North Carolina in direct opposition to federal laws prohibiting discrimination on the basis of sex and gender identity. More to the point, they created state-sponsored discrimination against transgender individuals who simply seek to engage in the most private of functions in a place of safety and security, a right taken for granted by most of us. Last week, our Civil Rights Division notified state officials in North Carolina that House Bill 2 violates federal civil rights laws. Today, we are filing a federal civil rights lawsuit against the state of North Carolina, Governor Pat McCrory, the North Carolina Department of Public Safety, and the University of North Carolina. We are seeking a court order declaring HB 2's restroom restriction impermissibly discriminatory, as well as a statewide bar on its enforcement. Now, while the lawsuit currently seeks declaratory relief, I want to note that we retain the option of curtailing federal funding to the North Carolina Department of Public Safety and the University of North Carolina as this case proceeds. But this action is about a great deal more than bathrooms. This is about the dignity and the respect that we accord our fellow citizens and the laws that we as a people and as a country have enacted to protect them, indeed, to protect all of us.
So there you go. In order to protect them. That's what this is all about. That's where all of this has come from. Okay, so now we have this issue of transgender bathrooms coming around, and what she says there is that they are seeking a federal civil rights lawsuit, a federal civil rights lawsuit. Now, here's the thing, and here is where we have that fundamental misunderstanding that I was telling you about, okay? Here's where we have it. We have it because when the Civil Rights Act was originally passed, it was passed so that those that were born a specific way would not be discriminated against. One of the qualifications of the Civil Rights Act in the 60s was you had to be born that way. Hey, Blake, are you there, man? Blake Reynolds, calling Blake Reynolds. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hang on a second, man. Hang on. See what we got going on here. So, man, this is live radio for you guys. All right, Blake, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Awesome. There we go. We got Blake. So here's the thing with the civil rights issue is you have to prove that you were born that way. And unless I missed something, unless I just completely missed something, there's never been any conclusive research that proves that you were born transgender. Blake, have you ever seen that research?
I haven't.
No?
I haven't went looking for it. It's never been a problem until this year. I didn't, no. The answer is no. So.
I mean, here's the thing, guys. Here is the thing. You have to, no research has ever been done to prove that you are transgender. No research has ever been done to prove that individuals who identify as homosexuals, period, have been born that way. In fact, as a Christian, I would contend, me personally, I would contend that you aren't born that way. You've made a decision and other factors in your life have caused you to go in that direction, but I will say this, it's a sin like any other sin. And there's no difference in the weight of sin with God. But here's the thing. This is the issue right now. This is what we're talking about. Now, this is what is going on within our culture. But according to the Civil Rights Act, you cannot prove that you were born that way. So that takes away from that. But in 2008 and 2011, the Supreme Court amended the Civil Rights Act to say to include the inclusion of sex there. So you cannot be discriminated against for your race, religion, or sex. Now, that is male or female, right? Am I right? Blake, is that right? Male or female?
It's both.
It's both. So you can't be discriminated on for that. Now, in 2012, the appeal was made to change the law during a ruling to include gender identity. Now, unless I missed something, unless I completely just missed the research, you still can't prove that you identify with a different gender. That assumes everything that our founders did not believe. Our founders believed that we were created. And if we were created, in fact, all of them, I would say they believed in the God of the Bible. Some may have been skeptics. I understand that, okay, for those of you critics that are listening in. But for the most part, most of them believed in the God of the Bible. The God of the Bible created male and female. That's what Jesus said. Jesus in Matthew 19 said, have you not read that he from the beginning made them male and female created he them? I already cited that one to you. So when you take up the premise that God creates us and say, I identify, though, as the other gender, you're assuming the premise that that God messed up at creation. Well, Jesus was there, present, but you're assuming the premise that God messed up. And that's what you're saying, is that God messed up and gave you the wrong gender identity. So to be quite frank and to be quite blunt, transgenderism is a godless ideology.
That's good.
I mean, it really is. Now, here's the thing. And I had somebody reach out to me before and ask me these questions, and I want to talk about them because they said they are fatigued. They're tired of having the LGBT community compared to the race issues that took place in the 60s to enact the Civil Rights Act. And I can see where if you're an African American and you have direct ties to the civil rights movement, where this can grow wearisome. This can be tiring because, man, I don't know. I never saw a sidewalk that said straights only and gays only. Have you seen those? Do y'all have those up in Kentucky?
We actually we do. No, of course not. But we're real big on women inequality here, so we have women on this side and men on this side, but we haven't got to the transgender sidewalk. Like, if you can't figure this part out, we need you to walk this way or down this row.
Do you have heterosexual, homosexual water fountains?
Again, this is one of those, and we're in Kentucky.
Yeah.
We do have, for those that identify as animals, we do have parks that they can go play.
Yeah.
Again, we just don't have one for the transgender community.
The last time y'all had riots in Kentucky against the LGBT community, were they being sprayed down with high pressure water hoses by the fire department and beat with billy clubs? Man,
I just don't know of any riots happening in Kentucky unless it's about basketball. Like, I'm going to be honest with you, man. Like, if the homosexual community in Kentucky would probably throw some of the people that riot against, common sense. They would be on our side of this thing. Like, y'all get out of here. You're messing this up for us, So Kentucky's a lot different. I mean, a lot like Texas in that sense, but I know Texas is kind of changing its landscape down there in the big city. But where I'm at, and like literally there's no one within a half a mile of me where I'm sitting right now. There's not a person breathing within a half a mile where I'm sitting, and it's like Kentucky's just too small to care about stupid stuff, man. The only time, like, most people probably don't even know this is going on with North Carolina, because unless they watch the news, they will not know that this is going on around here.
Yeah. Well, so this brings me to my next question. Okay, because here's the thing, and I've been asked this before, and I'm waiting for the day to happen. Okay, I preach for a small little country church out in East Texas. Okay, but I know that somebody's going to listen to my show. My show is going to get around to where it goes, and people are going to be listening. And at some point, y'all are going to try to track down the church I'm at, and y'all are going to come either protest or you're going to come and try to disrupt the service. And here's the thing, and here's what I've said before. I don't care, and let me just ask you this, and you have one church up there in Kentucky, and I think honestly, bro, I think I can speak for both of us on this one. I don't think anybody from our congregation, and I would hope not from yours, is going to be escorting anybody out that walks in as a same-sex couple and sits down in your service.
No.
I don't think that those people are not going to be met with compassion and love at my church or at yours.
They will. You're saying they will, right?
No, I'm saying I don't think that they will not be met with those things. I think they will be met with it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, by me, by you, by your congregants, by our congregants, I just don't see that happening. I mean, I'm not hateful or vindictive or spiteful or anything like that. I mean, I would welcome them to come in here. I would still preach the truth, and they would know where it is that I stand on these issues, but we would have a reasonable discussion and a conversation. And then if they wanted to come back or they didn't want to come back, that'd be up to them. That'd be up to their heart. But, I take on the spirit of Paul. I shun not from declaring unto you the whole counsel of God.
Yeah.
But at the same time, man, we are to speak those things in love and with grace. And I get that. And I understand that. But for those of you that are listening, that were listening to the original broadcast before we had some technical difficulties and it crashed the show and we had to relaunch. But here's the thing. For those of you that were listening then, you heard me kind of go off on this rant, and I am angry. I am angry because how far is too far? We have a non-elected judicial body, the Supreme Court of the United States, passing laws unconstitutionally. And they're using the judicial branch, the rest of the judicial branch, Attorney General Lynch and others, to strong arm these things. And they don't have any authority to pass law, nor do they have authority as a federal government to influence what a state government chooses is best for its people. This is just getting out of hand. That's what makes me angry. This is what makes me, that's what makes me mad. I have a couple of buddies of mine that do business. They're international businessmen, but they're based out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Jason and David Benham. We're going to have them on the show here in a couple of here probably next week. But Jason and David have been outspoken advocates for House Bill 2. They are businessmen, and one of the things that they have said for a long time is exactly what we have been saying about Target and about those things. If you don't want to do business with Target and you are on the boycott movement, then boycott Target and don't do business with them. That's what the market dictates. That's capitalism. Now, if you do want to do business with them, good on you. You know, you're not paying them to have the same moral stand as you. You're paying them for a product. However, if a company does not have the same moral stand that I do and they're openly brash about it, I'm not going to do business with them because there are 9 other companies that can offer me the same products that Target has.
Yeah, you don't have to. That's the great thing about this. I think to play in, and I think that you will agree with this, just because I know who you are. The fact that the DOJ is so concerned with this bathroom issue, while Hillary Clinton is skirting around this email issue, and they can't find the missing emails from the IT guy, and it just seems like the DOJ cares nothing about this Benghazi, cares nothing about the border stuff with Eric Holder, and it cares nothing about anything that really matters, but they focus on this bathroom thing here. Now, that, if you ask me, like, as far as the justice side of things, especially the DOJ, I think that, to me, that's what's crazy. Like, you guys are going to go that hard after this, while Hillary Clinton gets to run for president, knowing good and well, there's the email scandal, there's the IT guy can't find emails, and like, it's just like almost like the DOJ's letting this one go while they like turn all the world's attention onto this bathroom. Is this just I don't know, man. Is this almost just like a bait and switch type thing? Like, what's going on here? Because it just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. And there's a lot of things that are going on right now within our government that we should be paying a lot more attention to. You're right. Than this specific issue. Now, again, okay, so you and I are both friends with Greg Locke of Global Vision Bible Church. And one of the things that Greg says in his videos, you're talking about 0.03% of the population that identify as transgender. Okay. You're 1%, 1 to 3% identify as openly homosexual, bisexual, transsexual. 1 to 3% of our nation's populace. That's it. Why are we having this conversation on such a national scale? That doesn't make sense.
I just honestly believe things, and that's why I don't really get caught up in a lot of it, because it's almost like I'm tired of them doing this to us. And it's just like, I'm just going to throw this bait out there. They're going to take it. The media is going to take over. It'll take over people's conversations. This is like, people will be talking about this instead of what is being passed through Congress without anybody knowing. And it's just like, that's what I'm worried about. I'm like, what's really happening under the table that's not being reported about because everybody's so focused on the bathroom issue? How do we go from like, okay, we got this campaign that's just like heading up, and I know you do your fair share of talking about this, and so does the mainstream media, but little things that are being said, little things that are being done, and it's just like, this is what's important. This is what the country needs to be focused on. And then, nope, we can't. Why? Because there's a bathroom issue. with transgenders in North Carolina, and then there's the Target issue, and then there's this, and then there's this, and then there's this, and it's just like kind of what you said. I think I think the media and whoever is in control of all this mess, I think they've done a fabulous job of getting the whole world focused on the 0.0 whatever percent of anything. Like, where, there's starving people in other countries that don't get to eat. There's the slaughtering of Christians in other countries. There's literally the imprisonment, unjustified imprisonment of people all over the place. We have prison issues. We have there's so many things that we could talk about, but we're talking about a bathroom issue because before it was an issue, nobody cared. Like Caitlyn, Bruce Jenner, whatever. Bruce Jenner walks into a bathroom of his choice. When did this become a big deal for me? If Bruce Jenner looks like an all-out female, looks like one, talks like one, acts like one, I'll be weirded out if he stands next to me and unzips the front of his pants and pees like a dude. It will mess me up mentally. Like I won't know what to do in a situation like that. Like, because I'm telling you, bro, I've seen some transgenders out there. They look good. They make pretty women.
Somebody's going to take that. Somebody's going to take that and run with it.
I hope they do, because here's the thing. Like, I've seen them. And it's just like, I would be weird if you used the bathroom next to me. Like, please go to the women's bathroom. And now the problem has just, because for me, like I saw. Go ahead.
Here's the thing. No, you're good, bro. Here's the thing with it, though. Those that are completely transitioned transgenders, the ones that you're talking about, I'm going to say they look passable. Those that look like a passable person within the opposite sex, they're already using the other bathroom.
So is this so this makes the percentage even smaller. So these are the ones in transition. That's who we're accommodating? Is that what you're telling me?
Well, no. I'm saying those that are already transitioned, those that are already, those dudes that already look like women, that are completely passable as women, they're already using the women's bathroom with or without the law.
Yeah, right? I guarantee you I've used the bathroom next to a transgender before.
I mean, exactly. They're already doing that. So here's the thing, man. This law, what these laws do is they bring up a dangerous new problem. Now we're allowing men that self-identify. Society does not identify them as a woman. If there's a transgender woman or a man that identifies as a woman that's passable, okay, that if I were looking on the street and I saw them walking by and I'd say, hey, that's, I would say, man, that's a woman, right?
Yeah.
They don't self-identify as a woman anymore while they do in themselves. Even society, myself included, at face value would say, what? That's a woman.
Yeah.
Now, if it's a dude that has a full beard and I decided to wear skinny jeans that day, if I ever wear skinny jeans, and any of you that are listening personally know me, shoot me. But let's just say I decided to wear skinny jeans and I said, you know what? Today I feel like I'm going to identify as a woman and walk into the women's bathroom just because I want to walk into the women's bathroom, but say, look, I'm in skinny jeans, so I self-identify as a woman. Sorry to you guys out there that wear skinny jeans that don't identify as that way, but I identify you that way. No, I'm just kidding.
Dang, I like skinny jeans.
Well, I identify you as a woman then.
Gosh.
But here's the thing, man. Look, what these laws do and what these policies do is they now allow you, whether you look like a woman or not, access to the women's bathroom. So if I decide I want to tell you I self-identify as a woman so that I can go in a woman's bathroom and be a pervert, I can do that. That's what these laws and bills do. They're not extending a hand to the transgender community. If they're already transgender, they're already going to the bathroom that they identify with.
Yeah. Do you think that if I walk into a bank and tell them I self-identify with an ATM machine or a vault, you think they'd give me money?
Man, no. And that goes back to, like, one of those memes that I saw on Facebook. It says, I'm going to start writing hot checks at Target all the time because I self-identify as a millionaire.
Yeah.
Well,
I saw this video on YouTube, and I wish I would have had it for you that you could play it. But, I mean, it's kind of really long, and it went viral. So most people listening to this have probably seen it. But the guy basically walks in, and this is a normal-looking dude. Like, he is a a rough-looking dude, to be honest with you. He sounds kind of like that. I mean, I don't want to stereotype, but he sounds like he looks. And so what we get to hear is the voice, and I just went and looked further on this Facebook to see what he actually looked like, to see who they actually let in the bathroom. He basically walks up to the guy, and he says, hey, he's like, I don't feel comfortable using the men's bathroom. Can I use the women's bathroom? And the guy was like, well, let me get this person. And then they go get the other guy, and he says, I don't quite feel comfortable using the men's restroom. He said, can I use the women's bathroom? And he said, yeah, go right ahead, man. Sure. And I was sitting there going, no, that was way too easy for him to say yes to. And he says, so if anybody gets mad or if anybody says anything, basically this is what he's saying. If anybody says anything, he said, do I just tell them to come see you? And he's like, yep, come on, just tell them to come see me and I'll take care of it. And I was just like, no way. Like, that was just way too crazy. That was just way too easy. And for a situation like that, that's exactly what this law has done, where you're taking something where, I mean, this is a real identity struggle for the transgender community. Whether I agree with it or disagree with it, for them, this is a struggling transition for them. And for the compassionate heart, like I have, I look at that situation and I go, what these laws kind of just made it even more difficult for this transgender community to feel comfortable with who they are, or even in their own skin. It just, because for one, it highlighted an issue that, for one, they're scared to death of. Majority of them. Not everybody's like Bruce Jenner going to go out and pose naked on magazines.
Not everybody has the money to be able to be that open about it.
Yeah, and not everybody has the money to fund that. Hey, I'm getting this snipped off. I'm gonna get this tucked in, and I'm gonna get some of these. And like, not everybody has that money. They just wake up one day and they go, man, I feel like a woman. Dun, 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 and that's all they got.
Don't do that
they don't.
Again.
Okay, I won't. That's all they got, though. That's all they got. And it's just like, you've made this process that much harder for them. Yep. Like, for those people, they're going to stay, we'll go ahead and say it like this. I'm going to speak their language. They're going to stay in the closet a little bit longer. They're going to be afraid to go out in public just a little bit longer. Why? Because you've made an issue out of it. Where once it was, I can sneak by, get through this thing. I can walk right into this room and use the bathroom because, I'm in transition, or I'm in this. Like, I watched a video the other day where a girl who looked like a man, not a transgender man, she just looked masculine. She's standing in line with all of her female friends and to go use the bathroom, and the security guards walk up and tell her that she can't go to the women's bathroom. And everybody in the line is going, she is a woman. And the person talking going, I'm a woman. And now, because this whole transgender issue is taking shape, and it's turned into a mess. And I just can't help but think that Satan loves this. And the reason why is because from the very beginning, even from the garden, even before the garden, even when he had his place in heaven, he was all about creating division, and he was good at it. He was very skilled at creating division. How in the world do you think he convinced a third of the angels' population in front of the presence of God to turn on God and follow him? He's very good at deception. He's very good at deceiving people. If you can deceive a third of the angels in heaven to abandon God, then he must do pretty good here on earth too. And look at what he's doing. Man, he's just dividing America over and over and over, and little issue, back in the day, we go, oh, that's just a little issue. It'll never be a big deal. But now there's thousands of little issues. Now everybody is hermit crab themselves into their own little world. That's why we revert to social media. Nobody has friends anymore. We don't want to go out in public. We don't want to eat with nobody. We just stay to our own little clique, stay to our own little self, stay in our house. And we never, I mean, dude, and this is just one of those things, man. It's just one of those things. Now people hate me because I'm a pastor. Now, if you're a transgender, or if you identify homosexuality, I never said a word to anybody about anything. I've never went at anybody. I've never protested anything. I've never thrown rocks at anybody. I've never done anything. But now people will message me, oh, you're just like all the other preachers out there. You blah, 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 beepity, beepity, beep. And I'm just like, I never did a thing to you. What happened? What happened? You know, media is what happened to you. Now I'm the bad guy, you know, so before too long, it's going to go, you know what? The real problem is not transgender. The real problem is not homosexuality. The real problem is not pedophilia. The real problem is not rapists. It's Christians who think all those are wrong.
Yeah. Now, I'll say this, you know, and some of you that are listening to the show and trying to figure out who in the world do I have on my show, you know, Blake and I will disagree on some theology, just so you guys know, because that's what we do. But I will agree with Blake on the fact that, you know what, Satan is working in this manifest wannabe problem and making it this issue of gigantic proportion, okay? Now, here's the thing, and here's what we're looking at. Now, I will say this. This is what's interesting, and this would kind of somewhat go along with your theology, Blake, on what you're talking about with Lucifer and deceiving a third of the angels and stuff. And we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about demonology maybe some other time, or the origins of Satan and all that stuff. But this is really interesting though, okay? Because this is what you need to think about. This is sent to me by Chris Pillier. Chris, shout out to Chris and his radio show. Check it out here on Lanterns Radio, Battlefield Radio Live, or Battlefield Live Radio. And check it out. This is what he sent me. This is from Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals. I don't know if you've ever read this book. If you have this book, you need to get this book and read it. It's a powerful book. But it says, lest we forget, at least an over-the-shoulder acknowledgement to the very first radical from all our legends, mythology, and history, and who is to know where mythology leaves off and history begins, or which is which, the first radical known to man who rebelled against the establishment and did it so effectively that he at least won his own kingdom, Lucifer. That's what Saul Alinsky writes in his book, Rules for Radicals. So that's powerful. I mean, that's, you know, maybe we can get our own thing going if we do this. Maybe. But here's the thing, and I'm just going to say this. I want to go along with what you were just saying a moment ago in your rant, monologue. Sorry, not rant, but
yeah. Now, see, I'm made to be the bad guy.
No, I'm just kidding.
They've done it too. But
I want to go. I want to go along with what you were saying a moment ago, because here's the thing, and this is important. This is very important. Is when you, I don't think. I really don't think, and I could be wrong, but I don't think that it is those within the homosexual transgender community that are pushing for these laws and policies. I don't think that it's them pushing for them. I don't. I think it's you know, the last time I did some research on this is for every one homosexual in the United States, there are 5 heterosexual activists pushing for their rights. So they're not even the ones pushing for it. It's the other people. And why? Because I think you're right. I think it goes back to a deflection aspect of the real issues. I think this is how we can make a mountain out of a molehill. But I also think this is what I think. We have become so progressive and secular as a nation, progressive secularism, right? As a nation, and so godless as a nation that we will in effect take these mundane policies or mundane laws that attempt to protect the last inkling that we have of Christian liberty and extinguish it as a whole. 10 Commandments out front of the state capitol building in Oklahoma. Gone. Why? And when did they do it? They did it by night because they didn't want people to see them do it. What a shame that we live in a country such as this. So here's the thing, and here's a question from a listener to bring it back full circle. But I think we're far gone. But to bring this back to where we began, why aren't women fighting to go in men's bathrooms? Well, here's the answer. Because men's bathrooms are gross.
Because women are fundamentally, at the very core of who they are, grossed out by that thought. Yeah. Where men are excited at the thought of being in the restroom with females. Like, it's just, we're two different people. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I mean, dude, you go into a men's bathroom, you're going to walk through peed on floors and fart smelling urinals. Nobody.
God.
Straight up, man. Straight up.
Oh,
there's intrigue with women's bathrooms, though. There's intrigue with them. Y'all have powder rooms. Y'all have couches in there. Y'all have all kinds of stuff. Y'all have women in there. That's what some men, that's what these men that are trying to take advantage of this policy, they're like, yeah, it's the first time I get to see a woman. They've never seen a naked woman in their life. So they're like, yes, I can use this policy to finally see a naked woman. They're coming. The people that are using these policies and ordinances are finally crawling out of their mother's basement after 40 years of hiding behind a keyboard on the internet with their smartphones to take pictures of women in the bathroom. That's what's going on. Good.
It's already happened. That's just, oh my gosh. I got two little girls, and there's just, I'll stand out in the front. I'll stand in front of the door. Like, if you look like a dude, you're not getting in. Like, I'm sorry. Like, that ain't happening.
Yeah. I mean, this is straight up. I've said before, if Target is my last stop, if it's like the last place I have to stop, only place I have to stop, and my one of my daughters has to go to the bathroom, I will stand. This is Texas, and I have a CHL and an LTC, a license to carry. Okay, in the state of Texas, we recently passed our open carry law, and I will ensure that my shirt tail be tucked around my firearm. Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Cut out.
That my shirt tail will be tucked casually around my firearm so that it is visible. I will be open carrying, standing in front of the bathroom door until my wife or my daughter come out. Period. You will be met with armed resistance if you are a dude trying to go into the bathroom while my wife or daughter are in there.
Let me tell you, like, how unnatural it is. I'm at my own house, and I don't like it when my wife is in there when I use the bathroom. It's just like, especially like if the kids were to run in the bathroom while I'm in it, like, I'm yelling, get out. Why? Because there's like, I'm a man and you are not. It's just not. It's just I'm not comfortable with that, and you're my family, And it's just like there's the last thing I would want is like, all right, Jimmy, here it's your turn. Use the bathroom, my girls. Heck, no, man. There's just no way now, and I don't see there being a huge problem with this where you're from, especially, and even where I'm from. You'll see this in some of your. Well, you might start seeing it where you're from. It was Texas. It was Frisco where that thing happened. Man, that's right down the street from you. So maybe like I just here I go into my town of 15,000 people, and I go into the dollar store or Fred's, and I don't think I'm going to have that issue here. But what this does, it's the start of a snowball effect. That what does it look like 20 years from now? And that's the scary part. What does this look like 10 years from now? Is it just open door bathrooms now? Like anybody can go wherever they want. Matter of fact, we've taken all the doors off the hinges. Like what does this look like 20 years from now? And I'm not worried when I go out in my town whether there's going to be a dude trying to use the bathroom with my wife or with my daughters. But I have to worry about it if I go in Target, you know, and it's just like, and whatever's going on in North Carolina, what's going to happen with all this, it's just kind of scary to where it's headed. And I think that's the bigger picture. That's the bigger picture. And I think that it's the road that we're headed down is not good for Christians.
For sure. So here's the thing for those of you listening, and you can follow Blake Reynolds on Twitter, Blake Reynolds, and you can look up Blake Reynolds on Instagram and find him on Facebook at Blake Reynolds. Here's the thing: I want to close out the show with this thought. It's not a civil right to use a specific bathroom.
No.
But if you identify as a woman and you have transitioned into looking like a woman, I believe that you're already using the woman's bathroom. So this does not pertain to you. If you are a perverted dude that is trying to use the women's bathroom to solicit sex, take pictures, or just in general be a pervert, be ready to be met with armed resistance and be ready to be met by women that just really don't care too much. And if you do identify as a woman and you've not gone through any form of transition, you still sound like a dude, you still have a beard, you still dress like a dude, walk like a dude, then be ready to be offended. Okay? You might as well go to your little safe place and stay there, because people aren't going to agree with your gender identity. Okay? Now, aside from that, I have a message I want to send to the Fort Worth Independent School District. Leave our kids alone. It's not your right. It is not your place, and it is not your choice on whether or not my children are male or female. That's something that happened when they were conceived and born. That is up to what my wife and I want to teach my children. If I taught my son he is a boy, he is a boy. And if I teach my daughters that they are girls, then they are girls. Not because it's what I taught them, but it's because it's the way that God created them. You are not God, Fort Worth Independent School District. You have no say over gender. God had a say on that. You're wrong. They are boys and girls. Leave our children alone. I am calling right now. I am calling for the Fort Worth Independent School District superintendent, who had hand in passing this thing without consulting the school board or any of the faculty and staff. I'm calling for you to step down now. Now. This ends now. Stop. We've gone too far as a nation. It is time that we remember the words that are written in the scriptures. We must turn back to God, turn from our wicked ways, and cry out to him. And he says, and I will hear them, and I will heal their land. That's the only way it happens. Start crying out to God. For those of you that have listened through the struggles of technical difficulties, thank you. For those of you that are listening to the podcast, again, we say thank you. Keep it tuned in here to Lanterns Radio for more conservative talk. This is The Intersection, the place where faith, current events, and politics, it all comes together. This Friday, 8 a.m. Central Standard Time, we should be joined by our color commentator and comic and crooked-nosed Jew Brian Lane. I don't know.
Dude, he called me upset about that, bro.
Did he really?
No,
Okay.
He thought it was funny, but
Yeah.
he did call me back. He's like, how you gonna do me like that? And I was like, yeah, wait till you're actually on the show. Watch what we do.
Exactly. Quit having some technical difficulties. You sound like Blake Reynolds. Can't even connect Skype. To the thing. No,
I'm telling you, I thought I was smarter than I was.
Well, here's the thing, though, guys. We have technical difficulties. This is live radio. We appreciate you sticking with us. We appreciate you listening to the podcast, and we look to being back with you Friday, 8 a.m. Central with a full crew as we continue to dissect all of the facts that are going on within current events, politics, and the world of faith. Thanks for listening. Keep it tuned in right here for more Lanterns Radio.